Today is a very, very good day for me. It marks the return of one of my favorite franchises of all time. Yes, a show that is within my top 10 anime of all time, Ascendance of Bookworm. Yes, Season 4 is finally here. I'm sorry, it's not Season 4. It's called Adopted Daughter of the Archduke. They want to change the name and the titling system because apparently that's what happens whenever what studio takes over something. They do that. But either way, that aside, I am extremely excited to see the series come back. And yes, I will be, of course, covering this show on a weekly basis. No matter how much I have to talk about, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to yap about it because I love this series so freaking much. Enough that I went out and got the novel series. And yes, after I finish Mushoku Tensei and covering that series, I will be covering the novel series for that as well. And then hopefully at that point, I'll be doing skip content videos for this series. But until then, let's get back to this. Yes, we just had the premiere of the first episode of Season 4 come out today, and so far, really solid season. I mean, obviously, we're going to get a lot of recapping here because it's been literally 4 years. It's been literally 4 years since the last season came out. New polish, obviously, because which studio has taken over. I will argue, and I think I mentioned this during my preview of this series, I don't think they're going all crazy with this. I do think the series has gotten a lot better of a budget to kind of help with it because it's obviously a very successful franchise. But I knew that it wasn't going to get Attack on Titan levels of crazy animation and whatnot. I do think that at some point, if they do get in some action stuff, we will see a better quality than what we had with the previous studio because obviously the previous studio was a very, very much so a smaller studio and not to the high caliber of what studio, but either way, I think it looks good overall. It has a good polish to it and everything like that. So I'm happy with what we're seeing so far of it. Anyways, let's get to the episode proper. I do really appreciate, again, that they spent quite a bit of time in this first segment really kind of reintroducing us to the world itself, the fact that Myne has been moved to this world, the fact that she's got this large amount of mana, she's got the devouring that she's dealing with, the fact that eventually she goes to the cathedral, has some sort of threat coming after her, and that's kind of transitioning her going into nobility and getting adopted into Sylvester's family eventually. And having this little beginning part where, yes, now that she's Rosamine, she's having to very quickly figure out noble life and not screw up because if anybody finds out where she's from, that's not going to be good, especially if they do adopt her into Sylvester's family. I do think that this beginning part is a little bit, I feel like they potentially might have moved through it quickly in order to move to the next storyline because it feels like we introduced Kars and his family and then we're leaving them quickly. Now, they could come back to them, but it feels like, okay, now we're already into Sylvester's family. It's like, was there a point to introducing them and getting into, Cornelius trying to help her out, seeing that she's working really, really hard and trying to support her as well, him running into her problem with her passing out and whatnot, even though he's supposed to be guarding her. Now, he can still be eventually one of her guards, not that if she does transition to Sylvester's family that he's left behind. They could still have them present in the story. It just feels like a lot of this stuff was kind of bullets through. Okay, Elvira really, really likes Ferdinand. It seems like literally every woman in this entire noble district, they all love Ferdinand. He's the hot guy that everybody wants, all the women thirst for. They're all super fans of this guy. He's like an idol or whatever. But anyways, it felt like they kind of introduced these individuals and they're kind of being potentially thrown to the wayside unless, again, even if she's adopted into Sylvester's family, she's still going to be present with their family as well. I don't know. We'll end up seeing. But yes, this whole beginning segment really is sort of her struggles with trying to figure out all these names, not screw up. She got to learn all the names. I eventually Ferdinand comes in there and he's like, you're addressing me wrong. You need to address me properly. And Car's like, dude, chill. You're being a little bit too mean. Okay, I should probably, I should figure out some way of rewarding her instead. Okay, well, if you figure this out, if you pass all these ceremonies, I'll give you the key to the library. Which backfires on him later on. That's the greatest thing you could offer her is the fact that she could access this library at all times. Hey, isn't the high priest already accessing that stuff? Yeah, you know how to use people, don't you? But yeah, anyways, this whole beginning segment is pretty decent to kind of introduce the noble families. And I do like the fact that everybody's very supportive of her. We never really run into anybody that seems to be mean about the whole situation. I mean, Elvira is very accepting, even though it is a lot to do with the fact that Ferdinand trained Myne. Cornelius seemed like he was pushing back a little bit, but it seems like seeing Myne and how much she's really trying hard, he accepts her, which is really great as well. Getting into Eckhart and all of them, that was more interesting, I think, in the fact that, yes, these are individuals that are, serving under Ferdinand, and especially Eckhart, I think it was Eckhart, one of the brothers is very, very much so trying to support Ferdinand. Yes, currently he's serving under him, but it seems like they were both going into, train together since they're about the same age. And it seems like him specifically, he's trying to impression upon Myne. I want you to support him. I want as many people as possible to be backing him. Obviously implying the fact that there is groups that are going against Ferdinand and that he sees some good in him. He's very skilled, and while I should be very jealous of him, of how skilled he is and everything like that, I admire him. I want to support him as much as possible, and so he wants Rosamund to do the same thing. Please support this guy. I do too. That was a little interesting little tidbit to kind of bring up there. But yeah, eventually getting into the build up to the baptism ceremony and having Ferdinand bring Myne a gift from her family, and she just loses it. She just loses it. That hit me hard. I'm like, my girl, poor girl. I already hate the fact that she had to leave her family behind. I understand why she did it. Again, she's fearing for the family, and she knows that if she stays around them, they're going to be targets, and so she had to get away from them. And it sucks to have this whole moment where, yes, Ferdinand went out of his way to go to Myne's family and say, okay, she's having this baptism, you want to give her a gift. Yeah, they handcrafted this beautiful little hairpin that she can put in her hair, and she immediately knows it's them. Like, Ferdinand says, here's a gift from me, hands it over, she opens it, she's like, it's from my family. Like, she knows immediately who made it. She knows immediately that, you know, Gunther, her father, made the little pin right there, and knows that Eva and Tuli, they did everything else for it. And so this gift from her family, and she starts bawling her eyes. Ferdinand's like, everybody get out of here quick. I gotta hug her, and I don't want nobody seeing this. I thought for a minute that there was like a fear there as well that she might lose control of herself. But yeah, it's mainly the fact that he needs to comfort her, doesn't want anybody to see it, get everybody out of here. And yeah, she's like, hug me. Hug me. Ferdinand, hug me. I was like, that's so sweet. Just picks her up, hugs her and everything. It was so sweet. I loved it so much. I love it because Ferdinand, as usual, doesn't really know how to respond to her like affection and what she's going through and her emotions. Even though he's pretty much looked into her quite a bit, you know, using the ability to sort of, you know, see into her mind, whatnot. He knows a lot about her, but he doesn't really understand a lot of the interactions that she's expecting. And so when it comes to like a hug, or when it comes to what she's going through and the feelings that she's going through with her family, he doesn't understand it. So it's literally like, I'm never going to give it to you again. This is going to ruin everything. You're crying. We need you to go out there to the ceremony. You need to kind of shape up. I'll never go over there and get a gift from your family again, because it's bothering you. It's having the opposite reaction that I thought you would have. I thought you'd be happy. She is happy. She just misses her family. Just, you got to give me some time. You know, give me the gift from them, but make sure it's like 2 days in advance. That way I can recover first, and then I'll be, you know, be good for the ceremony. Okay, that's fine. Never gonna get it for you good. You're so mean. Stop being mean to me, Ferdinand. I love their chemistry. The two of them was one of the things that I think initially kind of drew me to the series, is I loved the chemistry between Myne and Ferdinand. It's very much so like a very nurturing thing, and it's a lot of, again, Ferdinand not really understanding what he's sort of having to deal with, and Myne having that sort of connection with him that she has with nobody else. Nobody else knows her circumstances. Lutz knows that she's not Myne technically, but everybody else, it just knows her as Myne. So this is sort of this interesting thing that we have with Ferdinand, is that he has that insight into her and everything she's gone through and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, getting to the ceremony, that was interesting. Yes, her coming out there, everybody seems to be kind of awestruck by her. Very well presenting herself, getting up there, doing the whole ceremony itself, being accepted by the peers and by the gods, eventually doing her blessing, going a little bit over the top. She went a little bit over the top, blessing everybody in the room. They're like, oh my gosh, this much light coming from this little body. How is she able to produce this? That seems to be exactly what Ferdinand wants. He's like, yes, good job, girl. He's like, did I screw up? Nope. They got that look on their face like they're scheming something. And yes, having Sylvester come out there and everything. Oh yeah, at some point, yes, she's supposed to do this little blood pack thingy with this gem or whatever. And when she performs this act with this little magic tool, it lights up with 7 colors. I'm hard-pressed to remember a lot of the magic systems in this world itself. I do know they have like the gods and whatnot. I'm assuming what that is going to be essentially the 7 gods. I'm going to assume each one of those are a signification of the gods, and she's blessed by all of it. Like, you have all the elements or whatever, basically. Like, she just basically showed that she is born with the OP's cheat skills. I mean, she already has the massive mana pool, which is a detriment to herself, which has always been sort of the core story element to her and her body in this world, is the idea that the previous Myne died because of this mana capacity and this devouring, and she thankfully found an outlet for it so that she can survive, even though she's taken over this body. She's got this cheat skill, which gives her a lot of power, but it's also her detriment. Here it seems like there's another element to this in the idea that potentially she is connected to these gods or these elements. Ferdinand, like us, probably going, yeah, expected. Like, if you're going to have this test of power, it's probably going to show that you're either super OP or you seem like you're underpowered, but it's actually what creates your ability to be OP. But we'll see. But yeah, eventually Sylvester stepping up, adopting Myne, and yeah, that pretty much wrapped up the whole ceremony. Get the introduction to a new guard, which is Bridget. I'm curious if she's going to have a change of guard, if it's just going to be Bridget added to it. But either way, yes, eventually getting introduced to Sylvester's family, including Wilfred, and Wilfred just dragging Myne off. What a way to end an episode. Let's go out and play together. Just dragging her. She's like, oh crap, I gotta try hard because if I mess something up, I'm not gonna get that key to that library. And eventually just falls down. And Wilfred's like dragging her body. The episode ends with her being dragged down the hallway and this streak of blood. It's like, what? I questioned at some point, like, it sounded like he was dragging her, but I'm like, well, this kid's got some arm. He just literally, like, without even flinching, he's just dragging her. Like, didn't even get tugged by her. Just keep dragging her down the hallway and just streak of blood. Okay. That was an ending. That was an ending of an episode. Yes. And, I think that's pretty much the episode. Had a little bit of tidbits here and there showing that a lot of the retainers or people from the cathedrals kind of coming over there with her, which is really great. Got a chef with her, musician, all that kind of stuff. So that's cool to see that she's brought a lot of those people with her. Seems like a lot of her achievements from her time at the cathedral with the orphans is kind of helping them there as well. And the fact that Sylvester's like, hey, she's like a saint, basically. Project Saint. She's a saint. She's able to, take all these people that were, not in worse situations as she is. She's like in this dire strait with her devouring, stuff like that. These individuals, they weren't as bad as her, but she took her time to help them out, which is really, really sweet. Even though there was a little bit of an oddity in how she was, portraying a lot of that help back there. It was like, this stuff is going to cause me problems, so I'm going to help them out so it doesn't weigh on me no more. It's some silly stuff back there, but she's got a big heart. Mine's always had a big heart, and I love that about her character. But anyways, that's enough this Yap Fest for this episode. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I hope you guys will join me for it on a weekly basis. I think even, again, if I have poor viewership, I'll probably still cover the show. I mean, unless it's like terrible, I'll just watch the show either way. But I hope you guys will join me on a weekly basis to yap about this show. I really do appreciate you guys' support. But until next week, take care.